And we're back with our first semi-final between Reflex and Pensioners. It's a very close map one, but in the end, Pensioners did manage to edge him out just slightly, and we will be going to our map number 2 soon. I'm joined again by Karnite and Snods, and you know, it's going to be another interesting one. It is going to be on Mirage, but how do you guys feel about this one going into it?
Pretty sure it's Inferno.
Is it?
Yeah, it is Inferno.
My apologies, I thought it was a Mirage. Okay, so Inferno, how do you think it's going to feel in Inferno?
I think obviously it was Reflex's pick. On paper, I'd say so. I'd be expecting a better performance from Reflex, but like I said, they impressed me on Overpass. And there's no reason whatsoever, with Inferno being their pick, why they can't start flexing their guns and, you know, upset and take us to a third map.
I mean, one of the things we typically see when it is this David versus Goliath storyline, you know, the underdogs being Reflex here and Goliath being smearing his biceps, or Lazarus' biceps. What ends up happening is it's a very close first map where the team that's the heavy favourites go into it not really caring, you're nonchalant, oh, we can just win this anyway. They get tested, it goes to an overtime, where it's a 16-14, it's a very close matchup. They wake up, they go, oh, okay, we actually have to play properly here to beat these guys. And they go into the next map, they're very serious, professional in the next one, and it's a 16-8, a 16-7, it's a very one-sided matchup. So I think we could be getting more of that. I would predict a 16 under 10 rounds coming out from Pensioners versus Reflex here. Maybe a 16-9, a 16-8 depending on the pistol rounds. But I think fairly one-sided in favour of smoothing the boys.
Yeah, I mean, I think we know from before he fancies a 2-0, but I always fancy the underdog. Like historically in the ESL
by the date, not the hour.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what's going to happen here, and we do have the Inferno stats for you, which will be coming up here. And tell me just a bit about these stats which have just appeared.
Yeah, well, it's very similar to what we said before. Obviously, with lineup changes and so on, there's only so much we can really extract from looking at these statistics. And we know Inferno was obviously Reflex's pick, but with the amount of quality on the Pensioners side, they're called Pensioners, but as we saw on Overpass, they most certainly don't play like them. Anything can happen.
Banter, yes.
Can't beat him.
You executed that.
Can't beat him, enjoyed him.
Yeah.
Right? Essentially, I mean, they've only played it twice, Reflex, and one of the times they've won, one time they've lost. The one time they did win, Whisk had the MVP of the week. I think he had 25, 30 kills, near enough that, on this map, but it was a CT side from Reflex that was so good. I mean, I have to test my memory here to remember who that was against, but it was one of those matchups where, you know, Reflex were versus a Fierce or a London. We're like, oh, well, they shouldn't win, but then Whisk had this amazing performance and they ended up doing so. On LAN, though, is that still going to come through? Maybe Mob can be that same sort of firepower to carry them over the finish line and have that upset win on this individual map, but then there's still Mirage as the last one. And again, it's the same hurdle having to climb over this big, difficult situation of you're versus such a skilled, experienced team. Even if you do get to 15 rounds, they still can close it out.
Yeah, I mentioned it before, even before the match started, was the fact that with Whisk, you know, he was a strong fragger during some of the Prem weeks. That last map, we didn't really see much from him, so maybe just trying to get into the stride of things. Hopefully we'll have a better map 2 coming into this. As you know, some players are better than some maps than others, but I think with map 1 being out of the way, we should see a more of a comfortable Reflex here, just due to the fact that I mentioned it before at the start. Not only did they lose both pistol rounds, but they seem pretty unorganised, not that well coordinated, but they did much better throughout the map. Yes, sure, fair enough, towards the end it wasn't looking so good because Pensioners managed to stabilise and take it, but hopefully this time round they've shaken off the nerves a little bit, and you've got to remember there's not really too much pressure on them, considering, like Snods pointed out, they are a very well-rounded veteran team here.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when, you know, you were talking about the previous map. They just needed a little bit of time to warm up, a little bit of time to let the nerves settle down. And if they can, you know, going into this second map, win the first pistol, capitalise on it, build up that confidence early on. You know, those first couple of rounds, if they can start steamrolling those rounds down, that might end up being the very small difference they need to get them across the line and into a third map.
Yeah, we'll see what happens going into this map number 2 now. And we're going to throw it over to your casters. It's Jackie and Ezio.
Thanks very much, Harry. That's right. We're plugged back in. Ready for the second map, Ben. It's not Mirage, but it's Inferno. It is Shaney, to be fair.
We're both Shaney.
We have both become Shaney there. We've molded into one. We did the fusion dance.
Yes.
And now we've become Shaney.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody seems to be very against Reflex having a chance on this map.
Yeah.
Based off what we spoke to them a bit last night, and one of the quotes was that Surreal has never beaten them on Inferno, and that's like 3 different games, or different maps actually played against them as well. So I feel like the confidence definitely be there. If you just take into consideration, they would probably consider themselves underdogs in this series, even though they are the #1 seed from the group. They've just got into overtime on your opponent's pick, and they probably should have done a bit better. Obviously, they had the 3 opportunities at match point and everything. But all things considered, you're now going on to Inferno. What I'm thinking is, when Reflex played slowly on the CT side of things, and obviously allowed pensioners to slowly try to force the error or anything like that, they were able to win rounds. Inferno is a much easier map to play slowly into. I can't help but feel like this is going to be another close contest.
Obviously, some of the games we saw from Neds at the start of the season on Inferno were questionable. Like, things were going wrong, but that was literally the start of really the team's sort of
it was the first week.
trajectory. It was literally getting straight into it. And the entire time we said there was a lot of room for improvement, but that was definitely a strong benchmark. The whole season they've got better and better. Now it's time to show that they're in the prime form. Surreal, he's not looking forward to losing to him this time, Ben. Tries to open it up, pops off the first head, but there's a response from Whisk. Gets himself 2 kills. Marg will have a piece of the action as JKM goes down. And it's all up to Shaney and Luzza now. Left into the 2 versus 4. A rapid flick around from Luzza. Shaney as well, getting involved with the action. As they're left into the 2-on-2. Luzza encroaching up towards the bomb site. They're going to try and take this one back. And open it up for the CT side. Continuing strong from the foot forward they had on overpass. Emmy working by the coffins, wants to put them into an early grave. It's the 1v1. Luzza jumping on the bomb. Looks like he's going to go for the full defuse. Emmy with a reface, spots him, gets the tap out, but it's too late. Luzza, he's defused the bomb.
We saw the instance there, so Luzza, when he actually got into ruins, I'm pretty sure you could tell the difference where JKM said, the kit's in the smoke at CT. And there was an instant, turnaround from him. He went straight to that kit, got it. And immediately, as soon as he saw him towards ruins, he was like, okay, I'm just going to stick it. It's quite unlikely that I do stick this in a normal situation, but he probably doesn't think I have a kit. And unfortunately for Emmy, I think he's fallen victim to the classic CT model. When you're crouched down, looking towards the bomb, it's very hard to hit the head, right? Just from behind as well.
Ooh.
A lot of nade damage.
Yeah, that was horrible. Obviously the Molotov really burning them down to a fairly crispy level. The rest of them just finished off by the SMG. That's actually a way worse way to go out, and they're feeding money over to Shmuya. There is a trade back from Mog. He gets himself 2 kills into the round, but that will be all.
It does mean they can get an AWP on that T side if they do want it. Obviously it'll be glass cannon if they do. However, it's unlikely it will be coming through. Obviously, full AKs. That first round having a plant as well, you can see the difference in what the buy would have been on the third without it. Smoothie on the other side of things does bring in the AWP. And nade damage, they're actually going to be going aggressive. But in Whisk, he had no chance there at all. But Emmy thankfully trades 2 of them back. So JKM making a separate play in apartments as well. Another SMG.
Ooh.
That's a nice kill to find as well.
Luzza playing close to the wall here, Ben. If they do bypass it without clearing it fully, he should be able to make quick work of them. They did peek into it, they expected it. But Luzza was just fast there on the draw. The outrageous play starting to come into effect as he gets himself to 5 kills. A 3rd round secured as well for the Pensioners. It's a good start on their CT side.
Yeah, there's not much you can do. I mean, the AUG, when it's within a certain range, it is 100 damage to the head anyway. So it's basically the same as peeking into an AK at that range. It's going to be a fast second mid to mid by the looks of things. Although they have slowed down as they reach the top of second mid. Double arch setup in play as well with JKM towards the apartments. So the question is, will it be more of a burst or will they contact all the way up? So 1 flash and they're just running straight up quad, and JKM's all alone here.
Ooh, Jake's actually a bit of a horrible spot there. Dropped out the Molotov that has done way more damage than I expected it to. And it's been a very easy convergence for them to actually punish the rest of the remaining teams. Whisk and Emmy, the only 2 that remain. Luzza just goes all in, swings his way back onto the site and takes them down in a matter of seconds. And that is going to be the 4th round, one very quickly.
Yeah, all things considered, JKM still getting 2 kills and a lot of damage down because he did get those grenades off.
It was a good use of the molly. He was able to get it out, obviously, just as the push came round. And be fair, I thought they were just going to get straight through it, but they took an awful lot of damage from that. Isolated them as well.
Yeah, I think it was the separation between those first 2 people that JChem peaked,
Yeah.
and then the next 3, there was a huge gap by looks things. When realistically, there shouldn't really be. I mean, because they were quite grouped at mid before the initial burst. So this, just on the basis of things, if you consider that the B side of the map will have Surreal and Smooya, surely in your mind you're thinking, we go towards A. If we can avoid Smooya, great. If we can avoid Smooya and Surreal in the same bomb site, surely we prioritize A as much as we can.
Yeah.
Right, it's obviously not started off too great because they've been taken down by Smooya. The kill he actually got then was kind of unreal as well. Looking for even more now as well. Tagged through the corner. Quite an unlucky one. Very unfortunate for Mog as well, trying to walk out and get any kind of kill back for his team. So a 3v5, Whisk incredibly low as well. They haven't even tested this quad set. I believe Lazar's booster on the balcony. Shaney peeking just the right time, gets the kill onto Whisk, should be able to make more, but only damage thus far.
Lazar, waiting in the elevated angle. Was hoping to be able to deal some death from above, but they're not going to come towards him. Instead, they go round towards Archside, smoke it off. Oh, the face from mid though, Surreal. He'd gone for the banana push, Ben, had complete control towards middle, just scoped in, holding the angle. They crossed by him, and that's a 5th round achieved. Pensioners really starting to rack these up. Reflex going for a pause once again to try and slow things down. It's good we are actually seeing them using their pauses. You know, a lot of the times we do have teams that will just get stuck in the rut and not think about it from the outside. That could also be the benefit of having Shiki there. Sometimes when you are in that moment, you think there physically is nothing we can talk about. With Shiki, he will still always take that pause.
Yeah, it's the same actual scoreline we had in the first map as well. Same 5-0. We've had 2 buy rounds. We'll go from there. Typically, I like to think you should probably try and get the 3 buy rounds in. At least if you've done something different each time, at least then you know, well, we've tried these 3. What about now? What should we do now?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, though, into this round, another buy round coming through for Reflex. We'll see how this one does play out. The Molotov top banana being used. JCMX knows not to challenge that actual angle this time. Because even if it is Molotoved, he can still peek behind it, depending on where you've landed it. Double lap setup. Shaney got an SMG though. So chances are, I'm surprised they haven't spammed towards that area. Because typically when you are in apps, it's quite common to just spam it.
Lazar with a first. Shaney should be able to stop this boiler burst. There was actually a bit of a team attack coming through as well. And he hits them with the assault from the rear. They weren't ready for it. It's a 3K picked up.
Dink
Oh,
as well.
the dink down on a Whisk. He's just left on 18 HP. There's not going to be too much he can do. Can this terrorist cause some trouble? Makes his move round towards the balcony, and timing could be in his favour. There is actually a gap forming. But JCam, will he start to delve back, Ben? Everyone's rotating off. They're leaving this side completely exposed. The only opportunity of attack that wasn't covered was balcony, and JCam's not heard it. Luckily, Smooya begins to rotate back around, spots out Whisk. So they do deny the kill. And that is not going to be a bomb plant for them either, else it's going to be a little bit more hair-raising.
Yeah, Shaney ever so close to actually getting all 4 kills there. Ultimate strike at the correct time, of course. One of the few players we've seen actually bring out the M4 still as well. And actually the M4 silence one as well. I was going to say, they got stuck for quite a while then on the boost, just because the ground is not completely level there. There's a slight rise, which means if you are the lower person trying to run away, you won't be able to do it very cleanly.
Look at the confidence though for the Reface. They're hungering for the frags here, and Surreal is just claiming them one by one. He is cutting off the head. Smooya, it's a bit of an awkward fight, but he just keeps trying to go back for more. The double dip. And Pension is getting a 7th round. Confident, reaching sky high every time as well, because they're just gunning for it now, Ben. A double AWP setup also coming out to play, with Lazar rocking the 2nd.
I think a big part of this issue for the map so far is the fact that Reflex having to start on that T side.
Yeah.
So just in general, like you mentioned the regular season performances from them. Week 1, there was the game in CX, wasn't there? And that was a 10-1 scoreline at one point. And it ended about 16-12, I believe. Which, you know, that shows how much of a comeback they must have made on the CT side to make that score look respectable. However, in this instance, we're already looking 7-0, potentially into an 8. Luz are now picking up the orb. We haven't seen him actually do that too much on this lineup. That was always one of the kind of crazy concerns, right? Because all things considered, you've got multiple players who can just pick up the orb. Speaking of players with the orb, Mog on his own now in a 1v4. Luzzer 2 kills to his name, Smear with 1. Awkward round because you don't really want to save.
No.
You kind of need rounds, but at the same time it's like you've got 55 seconds if you want to save.
Ooh.
However, that's giving him a chance.
Check him down. Luzzer should just be holding this angle with the orb though. As soon as he gets there, scoped in, ready to do it. Easy bicep curl. Easy frag secured there for Joe Ducky loose. Another pause coming through from Reflex though, Ben, making full use of them now as they already pop out their second.
Yeah, it could be the system of playing 2 buy-rounds each time and then finding out if something's changed. So, for example, they on that 5th, 5-0, you had 6-0 as a buy, 7th was eco, 8th buy. And obviously things haven't changed too much. The closest round they had was technically the pistol. And that was, you know, imagine how different the game might have been if they'd won the pistol. And Emmy actually was able to get, you know, the back of the player's head when he was defusing that bomb. But ultimately, Pensioners 8-0 up right now, and Reflex, the only player really showing up is Emmy. And he's got 9 kills. Behind him is 4 kills from Mog and Whisk, 2 on JC Max, 0 on Casa.
The sad bit is as well, it feels like Cass has been quite quiet. And normally he's one of those players that overall has quite a meaty role to him. He normally tends to be pretty consistent in his actual overall damage, but it's just not coming out today, which is a shame. We need to see a little bit of the action. Shaney forced off back towards Arch, ignites everyone. Easy hold of the angle as well to pop the heads off with the M4. Goes back for the re-aggression. And they're all being torn to shreds. He's confident for this, Ben. It could be the 5k. It is going to be the ace for him. Lights out.
Does like the easy ones.
Does like the easy ones.
It was kind of amusing to see the lack of like commitment from the players there. So like first player ran through the Molotov because he was close enough. But then the second guy, it felt like they were trying to commit just to be like, okay, just dice the Molotov, whatever. Like this isn't going to work. But it was just him. Like it was only one player doing it. So another buy ran through for Reflex. Mog has that AWP out. Careful at the very least. Gotta be thinking though, what is the game plan here? Because Banana has been incredibly tough to challenge. And unfortunately for them, when they've gone towards mid, they usually get a kill on one of the players, but the other one would react very well. So it's just a case of a waiting game right now. We can see Smooya was at the top of Banana. Still has his smoke as well, but he doesn't actually need to use it, that's the thing. He's got Surreal at the bottom. He can actually just hold the angle for now. As soon as he gets forced off, sure, I'll probably smoke, try and give you some time. But we're now getting down to that last 50 seconds. Player will be coming out towards mid, but the bomb is at the bottom of T stairs, bear in mind. Which in my mind thinks it's going to be a B play. However, if they walk into a B play here, it can be very bad news.
Ooh. Mog takes down Luzzer, Smooya as well, aggressing.
He normally would aggress on his own though, that's the thing. You probably won't be thinking to check each corner here.
If they rush into this, Surreal not even going to wait for them to come to him. He takes the firefight head on, but he goes for a little bit more, Ben. Tries to bite off an extra slice and gets punished because of it. And it's all on Shaney. Gets that headshot back off on the rotate, denies the player over towards Arch. JKM is essentially out of the round already. He has 1 HP. He has the flashbang to play with. He's going to go back round through Banana. They're coming in with a split-pronged attack. JKM, more than anything, has to try and assist, be a bit of a distraction, and utilize that flashbang to try and give him an entry. Casa just got to get a tap off with the AK. Shane, he's already done for. JKM will suffer the same fate. Reflex, they get their first round on the board. It took some time, but they have been able to open it up now. Yeah,
very solid round from JCMX. Obviously, you could tell his role was going to be absolutely needed in that round.
Yeah.
Considering the bottom is the bottom T stairs, if he dies, the round is basically gone. He gets that first on Smooya, then the same thing happens to Surreal. Like, he actually lands that shot. He's ready to battle. Surreal threw that smoke at the wall and then wide swung on it. Like an unusual peak, but very ready for it.
Shaney set up in apartments, waiting for the push to come towards him. The span comes through. Silence, M4 in close range. He goes for the wide swing instantly again. Wanted to try and take the second firefight, and it doesn't really go well for him, Ben. It's a 1-for-1 trade, favouring the T's now.
And this time they do actually commit to just having Smoothie at the top of Banana on his own. JCam gets flashed into apartments there, gets the kill to Emmy, giving themselves a one-man advantage into the round. Luzza still has that orb towards the A bomb site as well, holding the classic angle just towards quad from the site. Seen him many a time in this position.
Ooh.
And he knows just about right when to fall back.
Jacob taken down with his high horse towards the site as well. Whisk gets the entry, but Surreal, sneaky as ever, hits him with a surprise attack. The scoped assaulter dispatches them all. That is going to go 10-1. Pensioners, you would say, normally resetting them, Ben, but not really a thing anymore.
Nope, not with the new loss bonus system. So we'll be seeing Reflex go straight back in with another buy. Not a very high utility buy, but still decent nonetheless. And they've used this boost very often, but they still haven't actually had contact from a player, you know, when they've peaked it. Because there was the round where they did actually get rushed, but they didn't actually get contact off that, did they? Very nice opening kill, but I gotta be thinking, what's the game plan in this round from Reflex? Because there's no support for Emmy there. There was no flash being used for him. Nobody there to trade him. Seems like it was just a kill given away. So they're playing 3 towards mid. Luzza already playing anti-flash. And they're actually planning to just fight mid. Incredibly aggressive. Like, the confidence is completely back for them, as you can tell. But it's just when you're playing Inferno on that CT side, if the other team do not have any set executes that they can rely on or go back to, you see instances like this, where you're relying on picks, you're against a team who know, well, if you guys don't have strats, then we can just sit back and make you make the error. That's what's being shown right now. 11-1. Pension is looking like they're going to secure that spot in the grand final.
Doesn't show like there's any signs of them really slowing down. Reflex definitely just asserting dominance right now in terms of the art of losing, Ben. As Pensioners are definitely the one that are on the top dogs. The nade, though, coming in, blowing them to bits as they run in. The shrapnel going to tag them, and the AKs will throw them straight out of the server. Smooya with the easy 3K. JKM gets the final headshot off back on the Casa. 12-1. It's not a pretty sight at the the margin we have right now.
Yeah, it's not an ideal one. Morg will be bringing out the AWP once more. No armor this time either. Haven't seen too much from him in this tier half, but then again, we haven't seen much from most of their players in this half. But they're unable to get an impact in the game. A nice little nade down mid though, does some decent damage. Surreal and Smoothie have had complete control of Banana this entire game. Like, it's not been contested properly once. So Cass is finally going to challenge this. JCam loses the firefight. Machini, this should be an easy trade. Made it a bit awkward though. So it just means we've got 3 damaged Ts in this round, who still have a man advantage. So it's very unfortunate for Monk that he was holding such a tight angle right there. See how clumped Reflex are though in this situation. Like, there's 50 seconds left, they're all stuck at mid waiting for these grenades to stop coming. They just keep going. I would try Shaney peeks behind it. He actually gets that kill.
Okay. Well, that was pretty juicy. Rotation coming around. They're going to head up over towards the B site. Smooya getting into position, holding the cross with the orb, is smoked off, doesn't go for the wild pot shot, instead just holds for the meantime, sitting on the close angle. They walk into Surreal. It's been so easy for him in this matchup with the Org. Countless 2K rounds.
Bombs in the fountain.
Oh, Whisk, wet feet. There's still confidence in the peaks as he goes for the swing around. Shaney, though, on the entry back towards the site. Mog will take him down, and it's all on Luzza. The 1 versus 1, 10 seconds. That bomb plant is going to go down. Luzza will slowly walk his way up. That's the AK to work with. Mog. Hope me can fake him out. Sit close in the coffins. The flashbang is going to go over. He knows he's towards pool. He spot out his elbow as well. Flick around to the Molotov Ben, but it's extinguished by the smoke. Luzza jumps on it. He should be able to get the shot off, but it's just the leg. The tag's coming through. Both of them now fairly low. It's not much, but he will get the kill in the end, bringing them to a grand total of 2. 12-2, and Mog still the one barely scraping him through on these clutch rounds. Oh.
Yeah, some very nice kills found from the CT side, but ultimately, the fact that Mog was actually able to get towards Coffin there and still prevail in that 1v1, even after messing up with the Molotov use, obviously. Smoke was down. Luzza putting that smoke a bit too far as well as the other thing. Ooh, that was very aggressive. So 12-2. Reflex, they could do with all, they need to win this round really, because so far in the series they're yet to actually win a pistol. So when you consider that, if they were to lose this half 13-2, you're thinking game over potentially at 14-2. That's not looking great in this one either. Mog gets the trade, 3v3. I would say this round should be in their hands. However, you're against Surreal and Smooya. It's a very good combination of players, both having very solid games so far.
They've got kits, and they've definitely got confidence for it as well. Surreal. Bullet comes whizzing past him, giving him the information that he needs. Smooya is walking straight into the Lion's Den, but he gets the flick onto the first one, tries to get the adjustment off as well, but JCMX overthrows him. Surreal, as he arrives on the scene of the crime, trying to scope this out, suspect of where they might actually be playing from. JCMX and Whisk, they're in a position to support each other quite nicely as the peak comes around at the same time. Focus too heavily on Whisk, JCMX will get the kill, and Reflex, another round added. 3 rounds total at the half, Ben. This one's going to be a struggle.
We're at least seeing the players all arrive on the server though. I mentioned Casa, he was 0-9 at one point. He's now on 8 kills, I think he's 8 to... Well, they're all roughly 8 to 14, I think was the average. Yeah, 7-13, 8-14 on 3 of them. So, P250 given to Smooya there, by Surreal this time. It's actually been a 4-banana rush right here. So Surreal, the player with the grenades, kind of needs to use them as soon as possible if you can, just in case. Ooh.
They just keep coming, they're just bouncing through the smoke. The dinks were coming out. JCMX is left on 50 HP. Smooya and Jacob. 2 versus 2. Smooya taking the confidence faces, getting the taps off, trying to eliminate them, and they will be able to overthrow the duo face. Oh, Mog as well. Shattered as he'll hit the deck. The 13th round has been set in stone by the pensioners. And that is a rough way to lose it as well.
And that now makes it 4 pistols out of 4.
Yeah.
Pensioners as well. You've got to think, in that first map, if they were to have won one of those pistols, how different would it have been?
Mac 10 madness, Ben.
It is Mac 10 madness. And it's actually Reflex buying into this one as well, instead of actually going for... So they obviously made that error last time where they had no head armor on most of their players in the 3rd round buy. This time they've gone for the buy on the 2nd. They do have head armor on a lot of the players.
Mog getting away with the 2nd frag is actually very effective. Whisk as well gets the kill off down onto Shaney. Jacob and Luzza are not really into a prime position now. 1 minute and 13 seconds on the clock. They do still have a Taddy utility to work with. They've got the 1 AK as well on Luzza. They're making their move up towards the A site. CTs are stacked 2 to a site right now. Emmy over by Speedway. is slowly wandering back towards Arch, though.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of faith in Casa, although he was one of the players who didn't actually buy fully into the round, for whatever reason. So you imagine how different this could have been if he had grenades on him as well, because you could definitely trust him to be on his own if he had smoke, flash. And they're actually going to walk all the way through CT. Plenty of time. The CT should be aware that this is a potential, outcome.
Yeah.
The former ESL duo in JK and Laza. They'll see the player close oranges first, depending on how the angle goes here. Because no matter what, if you're going towards ruins, you'll see that player, but he's actually just pushed through. They shouldn't be expecting the guy first.
The rotation's got to come around, but it's going to be so late. If they find the kills on the site, they might be in more of a chance of taking this one. They force Emi back as well. They've been able to gain the control. They get the bomb down, and JKM finds that kill, surviving on 4 HP. But the important fact is that he's still alive. That is going to be the major nuisance. Keeping himself into the round for as long as possible. They sprint towards him, though, as he jumps out in towards the pool, slams down, and there goes Laza as well. JCMX hit him with the just abuse on the site there. A lovely kill to find, and a much-needed round saved.
Yeah, very awkward run altogether. I mean, the banana take could have done with an extra flash here and there, or potentially more, actual utility used to clear it instead of just running up and trying to take the firefights. But they actually are going to go with a buy. So Shaney, I believe he dropped the AK across the smooth there. He got the deagle back in return. So it's going to be the 3 AKs, 2 deagles. Decent nade down to those bottom, just the one there. As Mog decides to go over for head armor. So the lack of utility could be an issue on that site then. Obviously Casa still has the smoke Molotovs, so he's got decent stuff to play with at the very least. But you've got to be thinking, will he be able to get those grenades off in time if this is a contact player?
It's going to be just that. As soon as they come out, there's no chance of actually utilising that utility. Stuck towards first oranges. Luckily, he has the UMP. It's the one weapon that actually works quite well in a position like this. Jacob will get the spray down back off onto him. 2 versus 3. They can re-smoke over at CT. Bomb is going to go down, but they have lost Surreal. Jacob, the big man himself, kind of utilise the full potential of that Rasta Gaming jersey that he's wearing. Starts hitting him with a little bit of the R&R. The Blanks bombardment, that's the first headshot found over onto Whisk. JCMX with a Molotov, but he keeps tapping down. He's ignited though, but he is on fire into the round as well. Sprints round back over to CT. He's on the bomb, but he can't quite see him from this angle, Ben. He needs to get in there right now, but he's missing Jacob. He won't even get the knife kill. Reflex, they get the round. Jake eventually finds the kill, but it's too little too late.
The crazy thing is, you kind of should buy again. If you're on the pension side, you've killed all 5 of them. Right there, the CT economy. Look how many grenades they've actually got into this round. None of them are taking the hit and going for a FAMAS, UMP, or anything like that. You're still against 3 full AKs here. And this time it's not even 2 deals, they're Mach 10 as well. I did think for a second that Emi was going to defuse just slightly outside the smoke there, thinking, I'll just get on it as soon as I can.
Yeah. Alright, straight back in with the aggressive ferocity. Sprinting their way up towards the site. Trying to hit that 88 miles an hour, Ben. Emi on the defense, actually decapitating everyone that comes towards him. 2 kills picked up this far, as it falls back onto Mog and Casa to try and do the rest of the dirty work, but they are having none of it.
Yeah, save is very much needed. The money on the CT side, essentially non-existent. You'll be wondering that quad setup should have done a bit better, all things considered. Like, you've got to play on top of the quad, 1 player under, not even a single kill.
This is one of these games as well where Shaney's actually been very influential in a lot of the rounds, and it is quite nice to see.
It's been quite a balanced, effort from the pensioner side.
Yeah.
Because, Jake, at the end of that last round, He actually did have, I believe, the second most kills in the entire team as well.
18 kills, 89 ADR right now.
Yeah, because I think they're all hovering around 75 to 85, 90, I suppose. Emi unfortunately couldn't do enough to actually make that round winnable for his team. And it actually is a force buy from Reflex there into that. So they recognise if we were to lose this round, we'd be at 15. It wouldn't really be worth buying into it. So let's try and make it work now. Luz actually bombarding through the Molotov, and he actually gets that kill.
Just going for it. He's lost an awful lot of health, but definitely gave them a window.
And he's just charging, he's just going.
And running straight into the site. Casa, we need the impact now with the swing around. Doesn't even need the scope on that org. Emi as well. Straight Deegan. We'll find that headshot. They need to recover the bomb. Smuya delves into the smoke, didn't quite grab it, has to go back in for a second attempt. Bunny hops his way back towards the site. Shane, he finds the follow-up frag onto JCMX, and it's just Whisk, Casa, and Emi that are left. This trio here on the CT side. Can they mount this retake, or is it going to be a 15th round? And Pensioners, 1 round away from booking their tickets to our grand final. If they can take this, they're getting the kills, and it's the one-on-one. Shaney towards Pool, washes over Whisk, and it is the 15th round.
Yeah, all from the back of, Luzza just going for that incredibly aggressive play. Truly believing in his teammate's flashbang right there as well, ultimately. Like, how does that even land? Like,
that is just disgusting.
Those 2 kills as well, like they were kind of crazy to actually, he willingly accepted, I will probably die to this Molotov, but I need to make sure these kills come through.
Smuya with a spam. Not quite getting the kill. JCMX able to overthrow him. They spent flashed.
Quite a contrast in those 2 figures there as well.
Yeah.
Pensioners was 6 minute 13 and 9:07 for Reflex. 4v5 though. Smoothie obviously got taken down at mid. They did actually recover his gun as well. So Pensioners playing it a bit slowly now. JKM trying to get some information towards mid. Whiskers identified though that was quite clearly a fake clear, in the sense that he Molotov then spammed a smoke. That was about it. So you can see the walk off coming from Emi. Although he's a bit uncertain about it.
This very well could be a Smuya flashlights of 35 seconds this season. Incredible. And let's see if they can have a flashy play into the round. Morg, head just completely exposed, looking to the side. Surreal gets an easy tap off. The site take should be theirs. Shaney assisting Surreal. His Casa will be killed. And this is when Reflex need to do everything in their power. They have 1 single God Flash left to play with, but JCMX dies for the sake of it being used. Luzza as well with a flick across. It's all up to Emi, but it cannot be done. The Pensioners will take it 16-5. A rapid state of affairs. They're showing that the confidence was definitely flowing. Shaney there with a little bit of a celebration, Ben, as they have secured themselves a spot in our grand final. Rasta XD back on the map.
To be fair, that is quite the throwback. I mean, that jersey on its own is beautiful.
I know.
It's that Clanbug.
Yeah, yeah. It is vintage. Classic JCam. Vintage Pensioners securing themselves a spot in the final. It feels like the working men are back then.
It does a bit, doesn't it? It's a very similar iteration. There was more of that than Fish 123.
Yeah.
Right? That was the comparison I was drew to. But ultimately, I mean, Reflex, they should be happy with that first map performance. Ultimately, the second map, it was a case of, as I feel like it was them starting on the T side against CT. It's quite a contrast, right? If you start on CT, you can get to grips with the game a bit better. You start on T on Inferno, after losing the first map in that fashion, kind of hard to fight that uphill battle.
Yeah, fortunate obviously for Reflex. They came through as the higher seed. They had a very good online season, really. Impressed considering how they looked at the start and were able to go quite far into the tournament, but not making it the whole way to the grand final, obviously losing out on their semi-final there. Maybe they needed more GamerGoo, Ben.
Potentially, yeah. GamerGoo could have been the solution.
Yeah. Someone who does love GamerGoo, though, is Harry Lethal. He's back on the desk with the boys. Let's head back over.
Oh, that's map 2 done now, and in a much more comfortable fashion compared to map number 1. So we will be seeing Pensioners in that grand final. And guys, didn't look too good throughout the entire time. Still Reflex didn't win any pistols, but that wasn't really the case or the factor there. It was just the fact that Pensioners were just always one step ahead.
Yeah, I feel let down. I feel disappointed. You know, I wanted to back the underdog.
Okay?
No.
Well, I mean, what did I say? I don't want to toot my horn too much, but it was the fact that a very close first match, and then you come into the second one, and the veterans and the Luzzers, the Jacobs, etc. They're like, oh, okay, these guys aren't just a pushover. These guys do actually play well at land and playing better than we thought. Let's come into this next map seriously. It was even Reflex's map pick, 16-5. I think it was like, what, 9, 10-0 at one point. Finishing the half 12-3. It was just so one-sided.
Yeah, it was really crazy how one-sided it was. And, you know, good point you made. It was their map pick. And even from that first map, we did say, well, I said it before and I'll say it again, they looked really uncomfortable, but this time round, they knew there was no pressure on their shoulders anyway, but at least they've got map 1 out the way and they can start getting a bit more confidence going into this. But literally, Pensioners didn't really give them much of a chance at all to make anything happen, and it just seemed to be the fact that Reflex couldn't find a way to adapt and just finding the answers.
Now, the Pensioners were brilliant, and I think karma kind of came in. So when we saw the interview videos with Reflex at the start, some of the Reflex guys were kind of saying, oh, Jacob, he ain't going to be that good. He's one of the older lads. His aim ain't going to be on point. He's not going to frag that much. Well, I'll tell you what, on Inferno today, he managed, I think, 18 or 19 frags. And Shaney, massive shout out to him. Dropped a 20 bomb as well. So those two players that weren't great on the first map definitely showed up here on Inferno, which goes to show the squad depth that Pensioners have.
Exactly that. Shout out to the FPL massive. Yeah, 21 kills for Shaney. Obviously in the last map it was a struggle for a few of those players. Jacob, Shaney, Luz not really performing to the end when they went into overtime. Now those same players are here to deliver.
Yeah, they really have delivered as well, and they will be waiting for in the grand final for the next team to actually approach them. And Pensioners, what would you think, you know, not just their strong attributes, but they seem to be, for a mixed team, doing quite well so far, but how far do you reckon they can really go? Do you reckon they can actually take it all? But then again, there's other two teams in the other semi-final are also quite strong, as you've seen for the previous weeks in the Prem.
Depends who goes through. I think Pensioners have a good chance in the final, but I still think Fierce are the heavy favourites to win the whole tournament. Obviously former champions under the London banner, but interestingly enough, one of the reasons why they're not with the London org anymore is for different reasons that I'm actually going to mention, so I've messed this little point up, so I'm just going to have to stop digging myself a deeper hole here. But before, at Epic Land, it was the London Slayers, which was the Smooya mix. And obviously, the only, storyline I can say going into that is Smooya's mix beat them at Epic Land, and then, they left the organisation, now they're Fierce. Coming into the finals here, if they do play versus Fierce, are they going to change the name slightly to the Fierce Slayers and then try and take that finals as well?
Welcome to the UK scene.
This is it, you took the words out of my mouth pretty much. But we do have, well, speaking of Smooya, we do have an interview with him, with Caroline, with Smooya.
Thank you very much. You're at Smooya? Yeah?
Yeah, very good.
All right, cool. So congratulations on that win. That was pretty impressive. What I want to do, though, is chat to you about the differences in the maps, right? So the second map was pretty easy for you. They kind of stomped it was fine, you know, had a bit of retaliation, but it wasn't too bad. But the first map was a lot closer. What do you think happened?
They played good on the that T side, sorry. I was playing really bad on A on overpass, like always. I thought I fixed that when I left B, but I guess not, I'm still pretty bad. But yeah, they just played well, and we were like, we had the win basically in each round, but we would just throw it away. It happens, they played good, and then Inferno was like a lockdown. We knew we were going to win, so it's all good.
So do you think you're going to kind of take that synergy that you found in the second game and take that through into the finals with you?
Yeah, of course. Have you not seen Mang and Surreal's handshake? And me and Jacob?
I haven't. Can I see it?
Where's Surreal? Yo, Kaya, where's Surreal?
Oh, we can't. Okay. We'll see you next time.
In the final, actually. It's kind of sick.
All right. Okay, we'll do that. Tell me, who do you think is going to take the next game?
Fierce should take it, but those other guys are pretty sick, man. They nearly beat us online. They also smashed my team before I joined them. Maybe, I don't know, it's like 50-50 because it's LAN, and I'm not sure the other team are that good on LAN, but I mean, that's a flame. But they're walking in now. The boys over there. Yo, Impact, are you going to win this game? Yeah, he gave me a, yeah, I think they win. They're gonna win. Yes, they're gonna win, not Fierce. Perfect.
Who do you want to go against in the final?
I want to play against those guys. I think it's Revelation they're called. Because I've already beat Fierce with like worse teams, so it's pointless playing with these guys. 'Cause I'm gonna win easily. So I want to play Revelation. I think that'll be a good matchup.
Oh, I know, I think it would be as well. And one last question, how does it feel back to be on your home turf in the UK?
Yeah, I'm so proud to play in front of this huge crowd. Thank you everyone for coming out.
Big cheers! Woo! But Smiria, thanks so much and best of luck in the final. And okay, we're going to be back very, very soon with the next game. But until then, we're back in a break.